Alright, hello once again, Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College. And as part of Rankin's AWD1111 class for the fall 2020 semester at Rankin, I've been doing a series of video presentations based on the textbook we're using for the class. That textbook being Get Programming with Node.js by Jonathan Wexler, a Manning publication. I am up to page 59, Lesson 6. Writing better routes and serving external files. And the author mentions here that we started to learn about routing in the last chapter, the last lesson, where we directed URL traffic using our routing system. In this section, we'll learn how to serve whole files and assets, such as client-side JavaScript. There's the key. What we've been working on in this class thus far has been server-side JavaScript, not client-side. All right? Remember that one of the advantages of using Node.js is you're able to utilize JavaScript as both your client-side and your server-side language. We'll also be able to add assets like CSS files and images. As it says, say goodbye to plain text responses. At the end of the lesson, you improve your route code and place your logic in its own module for cleaner organization. We have 3 objectives. Number 1, serve entire HTML files by using the FS, or I think that's file system module. Number 2, serve static assets. Think about static assets. An image is a static asset. All right, unless it's a GIF or GIF that's going to actually change. And finally, create a router module. So, the author says it's time to build our basic recipe website. The site should have 3 static pages with some images and some styling. We quickly realize that the applications we built so far only answer with an individual line of HTML. How do you respond with rich content for each page without cluttering your main application file? Using only the tools that come with Node.js, we can serve HTML files from our project directory. We can create the 3 individual pages with pure HTML and no longer need to place HTML in our main.js, which is good anyway. So, as the author says on page 60, with the goal of building a 3-page static website, which is what we're trying to do right now, using HTML snippets like we've been doing gets cumbersome and clutters up main.js. It goes really against that old separation of concerns that we've talked about before. Our HTML should be in its own HTML file. Rather, we'll build an HTML file that we'll use in future responses. This file, it says, lives within the same project directory as the server. See the file structure, which will be down below in just a second, in Figure 6.1. In this application structure, all content we want to show the user goes in a folder called Views, and the code determining which content goes in the main.js file. So this is what we're going to want. All right. The reason we're adding the HTML files to the Views folder, see, is twofold. All of the pages will be organized and they'll all be in one place. And this is the convention that's used by the web frameworks that we'll talk about Express in particular in the next chapter. All right. Time to get to it. So I'm on the bottom of page 60 and the top of page 61. So the first thing I want to do here, and I'm going to try to clean this up just a tad. So let me come in here. I am going to close this. In fact, just to make sure everything's closed, let's see. Close folder. Okay, and I'm just back to my regular screen here. There we go. Need that welcome screen, of course. So, Like I said, I want to clean this up a little bit. Let's clear that. Let's grab these two folders if we can. And I've got kind of a junk pile that I've been putting stuff into here. We can't because it's open in another program. Code. Okay, so those two should have been moved. For lesson 5, should be able to get rid of that now. Good, I'm just trying to clean this up a little bit. So we want to create a new project folder called Serve HTML. So right mouse click, new folder, there it is, serve_HTML. Within that folder, we want a blank main.js file. We want another folder within here that's called Views. And within that Views folder, we want to come in and create a new file called index.html. I believe, nope, main.html. Main.html. Alright. Now, one thing that I can do, and I think you already know this, but I'm going to say it again anyway. Now, what happened there? I don't know. Main.html. Yes. Alright. So if I come in here now, and I open this with code, alright, and I go into my views, main HTML right there. I should be able to come in and put it in exclamation point, hit tab. Not sure where my exclamation point is. Okay, it's there. I don't know why I put it there, but it did. What is going on here? There we go. There. All right. Doc type HTML, it's pretty much what's shown. There's a little bit more, but home page, and they want an H1 tag in here that says welcome. Alright, so that's pretty much what we were looking for. Alright, a little bit different, but it's pretty much the same thing as far as I know at least. Let's do a file save all on this. And go back into the book. Alright, so we added the boilerplate code. Again, mine's a little bit different, but you get the idea. This book isn't about teaching HTML or CSS for this example. The author has provided some basic HTML, but for future examples he won't. So in other words, you'll have to provide that yourself on an as-needed basis. Okay, the client can see this page rendered in a browser only with the help of the Node.js core module, FS, which interacts with the file system, that's what it stands for, on behalf of the application. Through the FS module, the server can access and read individual files such as index.html. We're going to call that read file method within the HTTP server in the project's main.js file as shown in figure 6.2, which is on the bottom of page 61 and the top of page 62. Let's put the code in and then we'll come back to here where it says first this, etc. So we'll put that in, we'll go back, get a little explanation. Alright. So let's start with this stuff that's right here. Shouldn't need this for a while, so I'm going to open up my main.js. I'm there, good deal. We've done this before. Const port equal 3000. HTTP equals require HTTP. Oh, one thing I did not do here, and I don't even know if I did it in the last chapter, and I'm going to do it in just a moment as I'm going to go and do my npm init. We have to remember to do that all the time. Alright, now it's pretty obvious I'm getting an error in here, which typically means I've got a problem with curlies or something else. So we'll fix it. I wonder if I can do this. It looks like it. Constant port equals 3000. HTTP require status. Looks good. FS. Route map. Looks good. HTTP create server. Two of these here. I don't know what the problem is with that. Okay, looks like it's just about fixed, but I just want to check the way I've got stuff lining up here. So I know that everybody else doesn't do this, but in my regular ifs, I like to put the curly on a new line. Right before the dotless import. This. Okay, should be everything. Not sure why I don't have something there, but I don't. Okay, so let's go back and I'll tell you what I'll do is I will go through the code and then we'll talk about what's on here. So the client can see this page rendered in a browser only with the help of another JS core module FS, which we just talked about. First, when we come in here, what is new is we are requiring the FS module, and we're putting it in as a constant. With the FS constant, we can specify a particular file in the relative directory. In this case, we're saying that off of the home directory, there's a views folder, and under the views folder, there's index.html. Then we create a route map to pair routes with the files on the server. Next, locate and read the file contents of the file in the route mapping to the FS read file. Returns any potential errors that may have occurred and the file's contents in two separate parentheses. So this is if we've got an error, otherwise return this. Alright, and that's the code that's in your book on pages 61 and 62. Alright, and the author says after that, when files on your computer are being read, they could be corrupt, unreadable, or missing. Your code doesn't necessarily know this, and it's a really good way to get the system stuck So if something goes wrong, it says you should expect an error as the first parameter typically in the callback function. All right. Run this file by entering this projects directory in your command line and then entering node main.js. I, of course, won't do that yet because what I want to do first is I don't want to be in simple routes anymore. Instead, this one, if you remember, was called server_HTML. Okay. I called mine serve_HTML. So let's change that. Yeah, of course it won't because I've already got it open. We'll use serve. It's not going to matter. All right, so let's get back into here. And we'll do let's do a cd to serve_HTML. And let's do an npm init. The code corresponding to chapter 6 of our text. Okay, yes, that's okay. Alright, so that's been built for us. Alright, so the author says, again, now we can come in and run this. So we can do the node main or node main.js. And if we access the localhost 3000, we should see our index.html page being rendered. Anything else should say sorry not found. Alright, let's try it. So, node main. That didn't look very good. File. Let's do a save all in here. I don't know if I saved previously, and I don't know if that's saved for me automatically or not, so. Alright, doesn't like something. Oh, it's that old HTTP status codes again. Alright, so I've got to grab that from the last chapter because I don't remember the doggone command. So, no, that was chapter 5, not 6. I'm thinking. We need to run that. That's looking better. So now if we come in and do our localhost 3000, it's telling us the site cannot be reached. Telling us in our main.js 13. So let's take a look at that. Looks to me like that should be correct. Well, I don't want to typically do this. Oh, we're up to 27 minutes, so see you in the next part.